the whole way I had found out about this person is through Yes Theory, which I mentioned earlier. And when they had posted their original videos 3 years ago, and it's probably about a 45-minute long video, but they actually went to his retreat in Poland for 3 days, or well, 4 days, and they were supposed to be just doing the typical stuff, and just kind of doing a retreat with him like he normally does in group settings and all this. And he basically took them and immediately threw them to the wolves. Their first day, he decided to take them cliff jumping into ice water. Basically, I mean, it was in a Polish winter, and that was basically his first challenge to kind of see the responses. And he didn't tell anybody at the time, but he was trying to see the reaction and how they could handle and deal with it. And he kind of, because of who was there and how their whole mantra is seek discomfort, and they're more adapt to doing some of the stuff like this, he decided to kind of change it up on them. The second day, they actually went into the river and did a 10-minute ice bath, which is not normal. Most people do like 3 minutes max, I would say, and he decided to do 10 minutes with them. And you can get hypothermia in temperatures like that, I think, within 2 minutes. So let's just say a lot of them were very skeptical and nervous and thought that this was crazy. They did do it. All of them did it, and they survived. Which was kind of crazy to see these people go through something like that. And even as some of them were very skeptical, and at that point they had not learned his breathing techniques, which are supposed to, I guess, because of doing some of the stuff, is supposed to kind of alleviate some of the cold exposure and handle the temperatures a little better. So he kind of withheld that part of it at that point to kind of see what they would do and how they would do. So he kind of even said in that video, and when it came out, it kind of makes sense that he was using them as guinea pigs, because he said he was involved in a recent study about where he realized that you might be able to do some of this stuff just through the power of the mind, which would have been, I think, in the study he was involved in Michigan in 2018, and they would have been over there, I think, in 2019. So he kind of used them as guinea pigs, did some stuff to them, because he was like, well, they've already kind of made their whole existence as a platform as seeking discomfort and just kind of forcing yourself to do stuff and using the power of their mind in general. He tried making that the main focus. So on their third day, it might have been after the ice baths, it might have been the third day, something like that, they ended up doing the breathing, which one of the guys did, I think, black out or have some form of physical response to the breathing, which happens. And so they did that, and they got to experience that for a little bit. And I think they were able to hold their breath for over 2 or 3 minutes, which is pretty crazy. Considering if you'd say that to anybody, or like the only person you'd look at that could possibly do that is like a free diver or a Navy SEAL, not just your typical person. So that in itself was pretty crazy. And then the next day, he took them to a local, I guess, quote unquote local, I don't know how local it was, but a mountain, to basically go hike up this mountain in boots and shorts, kind of like he did on Everest, just I guess not as extreme, although I believe the mountaintop they did go to or tried to go to is known as the windiest mountain in Europe. So with the wind chill and everything else, it was like 90. It was like negative 30 degrees Celsius or something crazy like that because of the wind chill. And it was a several hour hike. And I don't think they were able to summit because of the weather conditions and the snow, but they hiked up the majority of this mountain wearing boots and shorts, which was kind of amazing. And then not only that, year afterwards, roughly about the time this book came out, one of them from Yes Theory actually went back and stayed with Wim Hof for 24 hours. He kind of just experienced his life and went to his actual personal home and stayed there, which was kind of crazy. It's a very unique place, that's for sure. He has his own little cliff jump into ice water. He has a little ice, like a polar plunge. He has a sauna. He has he built and put in an industrial freezer in his property, so he can go in there and just walk around in extremely cold weather. And while he was there, they did a lot of that. The guy from Yes Theory, he had him do 11 minutes in the ice bath, so a minute longer than he did than he had the previous time. And they also walked in the freezer for over an hour, which I can't remember what temperature that was at, and a bunch of other stuff. So it was very interesting, and it was some of the stuff he did, but I feel like part of his message is just basically trying to take control of your everyday situation by just being able to be more connected with your body. And I feel like that's similar in the sense to what meditation is in general. And it's kind of like that, and it's kind of like I feel like it's similar to just being an athlete or working out in general. Is like you do some of these things to kind of get a better connection with your body and to develop better health and this and that. So it kind of in lines with things like that. And one of his whole main messages for this and wanting people to read his book and to do the method or at least get into it is because he wants to be able to provide another way for people to deal with mental health and all this stuff that the regular typical society way of doing it, especially in the Western cultures, which is just take a medication, hasn't necessarily always helped.